Heads up. If you have kids around,
parental advisory is in effect.
This is the Bonus Bone Podcast with Lamont and Tonelli.
It's like water torture.
Baby Huey.
Chasta.
Welcome back to the Bonus Bone Podcast, friends.
What's happening?
Loved that one. That was with all the power in your soul. We're happy kids today. Lamont, Tonelli, Baby Huey, myself, Chasta, because we're talking about the best moments of our lives. We're doing this because, Thanksgiving's around the corner.
It's a feel good.
And we're going to be feel good. We're going to be lovey and gratitude and all that shit.
Yes, exactly.
So we do have a rule, though, today. For those of us that are married and or have kids, the happiest day of your life stories cannot involve the day you got married or the day you had a kid.
You can't puss out on this one.
Okay.
You have
That's
to.
easy.
You
gotta think of something
be like
outside
a big
that.
wiener and go, oh, the day I got married.
Yeah,
that doesn't
lame.
count.
Boo, unhappy marriage.
Exactly.
That's low-hanging fruit.
Boo. I was there when my kids were born. I saw them pop out of a vagina.
Now, see, that is like, I love my son, but that may not be technically one of the happiest days because it was the most painful day of my life.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have to start with you because you have a whole page of notes.
No.
What?
No,
You have notes?
No, it doesn't
you want
matter.
Huey to start?
Yes,
He's pointing
let's
at you
Huey
under
start.
the radar
Yes.
down here. He's going like,
I think Huey has to start because you never start. You just sit there.
Oh, okay.
And you never start it off.
So you can start it off with Baby Huey's really very good, outstanding day.
Yes. The best day of your fucking life.
Ever.
I mean, there's multiple ones.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, like
kind of like a
Good days.
quick,
Great
a quick
days.
roster of your great days.
Green Days.
I knew it was going to be Green Day. That's why I wanted him to go first.
Of course.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. Well, I mean, I'll say Green Day last, but the day I graduated high school, that was really important to me. Just big
Yeah, but
accomplishment.
you just all it was getting a GED in the mail, right?
I was in the top 4% of my class.
Were you really?
That must have been
Yes,
one
I
hell of
was.
a class.
Yes, I was.
I should have been so surprised. What I
Very
was
good.
surprised. Let me clarify.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I straight A's. I got my first B senior year.
Okay,
Because I was coasting.
I want to clarify on something. I wasn't surprised that you were the top whatever. I was surprised that 4%, top 4% is a random number.
Yeah, that's just I don't know.
just how they do it?
3 or 2.
Because the program I got into.
Like, if we're going to make shit up, why don't we just round up?
I don't know. I was surprised.
The top 1%.
I love you.
You're the top 1%er.
No, but that was just because the program I got into to get into the UC schools, it was a program I got into, and for whatever reason,
You said the top 4%.
yeah, they had to be in the top 4%.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
there you
I was
are.
in that. So yes,
Proud of you.
But no, that was like one of the last big events that my mom was there because she passed away a couple months later. So that was just like the last thing, like the group photo of us. That's like one of the last group photos of us together. So that was just a really important day.
See,
for
no,
me.
that's a good one.
That is
Yeah.
a great one.
Yeah.
College graduation 4 years later, graduating
Because
from
you couldn't believe it?
because I was my graduation was at the Greek, and I remember looking up and seeing my dad and my brother watching me, and my dad had the big smile on his face because he always wanted to graduate from Cal, but he couldn't. He's one of 9, so he was one of the older kids in his family, so he had to work and provide for them. So he never got to go to college like that. So he
was one of the best days.
yeah, so he was just happy to see me accomplish his dream.
Right.
Well, it was also my dream too to go to Cal. But I mean, when I got the job here, that was exciting.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's why I want you to go first.
Because when I got hired as an intern, I remember I got the job, came outside. My dad was waiting outside of our old building, and he was sitting on top of our old Volvo, and he gave me a big hug. He was happy for me, so that was a really exciting moment just because he knew how much I wanted it. And then, as far as like Green Day stuff, yeah, I mean, the first time I saw Green Day.
Let's back up on that. So that's when you were hired as a part-timer.
Yeah, as an intern.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I thought the number one day would have been when we hired you as
Producer?
a producer for the show.
Oh, yeah, it was a few years later. Oh, yeah, I mean.
Well, you see, that should have been number one in your list right there.
Well, no, but getting
you
my
already
foot in the
worked here.
door. Yeah, I was already here.
Yeah.
But like getting my actual opportunity to start here at the Rock Station, at the
Yeah.
Bone, that was a big deal for me. Like, because I was like, what?
Do you remember what cinched you being on our show? The number one
I
thing?
have. I mean, your perspective might be different.
No, but do you remember that when I said we've got to hire that guy?
Yeah, and you asked me, are you willing to do anything to get on the air? And I said,
Yes.
yeah, sure. And yeah, the Cupid bit.
So I told you that you have to shove the suppository.
Oh, yeah.
How could you forget that?
Yeah.
Because he's
I think
That was a landmark moment.
he's put that out of his mind.
And when he put that suppository in his ass, and I saw the look on his face across the board, I told Tonelli, this guy's willing to do that. I think we should hire him.
This guy's got what it takes.
That is commitment.
Thank you.
Not many people would have done that.
No.
That's for damn sure.
I'm trying to think of like Green Day moments. There was always just first time I saw them live, and then they played a show. There's so many different moments. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, Chasta was there at Bottle Rock when Mike Dirnt walked by. He said, "Hey, is that Baby Huey?"
That was a cool moment. I witnessed that. That was amazing.
And one of your best moments of your life.
How about when Trey Cool made you drink dirt or whatever
That's
it was?
the thing. That's another one.
And grass and weeds.
That, quite honestly, was one of my best moments of my life.
That's the thing. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. But no, we were in that golf tournament, and Trey Cool was there, and there was the liquor bar set up on that one hole, and he just made a drink for me.
And he said, just like I did when we hired you, would you do anything for us?
Yes, I was like, sure.
And he threw dirt and grass, and what else was in there?
Like whiskey and every other liquor that was on that table. So
you drank it.
I did it. It was great.
Yeah, and afterwards I said you should have asked him to put a suppository in his ass.
He would do that too.
Yeah.
But it's just multiple times of just interacting with Green Day on a personal level or just big moments. So like they played the Parkside and, as the cover-ups, and Andrea, our promotion director, was there. She witnessed this. Her and I were standing in there. Mike Dirnt walked by, came by, gave me a big hug. So it's like these little moments when if you would have told 10-year-old me when I first fell in love with Green Day that have some sort of a friendship with them, that's always been a big deal to me. So interacting with them on different levels over the years has always been really cool. Just like, there's so many other like moments, like the little secret shows they play around here and be able to interact with them and their family members. And just, I can go on like with different moments with Green Day specifically. So I don't know. I could just like keep rambling.
The reason I wanted you to go first is I wanted to hear that when we hired you.
When I got hired here at the Bone, it was a big deal for me.
Yeah, that is a big deal. It's a life changer.
Yeah.
Clearly.
All right.
Tonelli, your turn.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about jobs and professional stuff, there was a day, and Lamont, you'll remember this. We had some owners at our previous station at KSJO, and we were signing, I think, the first contract under their ownership.
Yes.
And it was kind of a big deal. And
that was kind of our first big contract.
Yeah. And you guys will be happy to hear this. They threw in a signing bonus.
Oh, wow. That does not happen anymore.
We did the signing. It was a great contract. They took us to lunch.
Yep.
They had a limo set up outside the offices of the radio station, and they took us to lunch here in the city. And then after lunch, they took us to Don Sherwood Golf and Sports World, or wherever the hell it was.
Yep.
And bought golf clubs for us.
Wow.
Yeah, so whatever you guys want.
They rolled out the red carpet.
Whatever you guys want. And I'll tell you, the sad part is,
amazing.
I'm still using those clubs 24 years later.
I still have mine. I don't use them as often.
No, I still use them.
Wow.
But it was pretty damn incredible.
That is amazing.
Because we thought we were just going to sign a deal. We had an idea that there would be a signing bonus involved. But then the lunch, the limo, they
did it up right.
The trip out to the sports store to get the golf clubs, and I don't know. They took us downstairs to the indoor driving range to see which clubs we liked the best.
Yeah,
that was a pretty spectacular time.
It
wasn't the greatest day ever, but it was a great day. Yeah, it does. I mean, because it was like a watershed mark as far as my career was concerned.
Sure.
Yeah,
but just how ridiculous the whole day was pretty amazing.
It really
Very
was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
It was something that was memorable. But I think, you have different good or great days that relate to different parts of your life.
Sure.
I mean, go back to when I was 6 and got my first bike.
Yeah.
That was the greatest day ever.
Yeah.
Although I needed little blocks on the pedals because I couldn't reach the pedals. And then about 6 months later, I ran into a wall and knocked out all my teeth. But it was still a great bike and a great day.
Yeah, of course.
And the funny thing is, he still needs those blocks on his car.
Well, I can't reach the pedals. But you can't see them on the pedals in the car,
Yeah,
so,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't feel shamed for those,
And you know what? And that's exactly what I was going to bring up. And that's why I've got so many here.
Yeah,
because
I need your
everything in perspective, right?
Yeah.
The best of your life, depending on your age at the time. So for me, I remember when I got a hockey net for Christmas. I think I was in the 5th grade. and a Montreal Canadiens jersey.
Oh, look at that.
This was the greatest fucking day in my life.
Are you kidding?
I mean, and
this is reminiscent of the Christmas Story right now.
We used
Ralphie.
that friggin' hockey net. I mean, we put it together because you had to build it.
Yeah.
We put it together, and that hockey net was the hockey net for the entire street. I mean, we played street hockey for 2-3 years before that thing fell apart.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, when you're a kid, I would say another time was the first time I had sex with a woman.
Oh,
I mean,
well, that's always a great day.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Who actually wanted to have sex with me.
Was actually into you?
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't cost you anything.
That was that. But you know what? And there's different stages, as Paul said. Yeah. Like, and then you're going, out of high school. The greatest day when I got out of high school, and this is just before I went to college, I got hired for a job that I thought this would be my career. Mm-hmm. This is the greatest fucking job ever. And it paid a shitload of money. I got a job as a cigarette salesman.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
And I didn't drink at the time. I'm just like, so the people I was hired with were just like, these were like professional cigarette salesmen. Right? It was like Rothman's at Pall Mall in Canada. And they had the cars, and they'd go to all the drugstores and the supermarkets, and they'd sell them crates of fucking cigarettes.
Yeah.
But the guy said to me, he goes, well, you don't smoke? And I go, no, I don't smoke. And he goes, well, you got to like say that you've used the product before. And he goes, we have chewing tobacco. And I go, well, it's got to be better than smoking, right? Because I've never smoked in my life.
Yeah.
So he gave me fucking Red Man chewing.
Ooh, and that's the big stuff. That's the leaf tobacco.
Here, just put some shit under your fucking lip.
Yeah,
like
that's top shelf stuff.
I will tell you this, and that was one of the products we were selling.
Right.
I put it under my fucking tongue.
Oh, man.
Janelle, I threw up outside the car all the way to the next friggin' appointment. It was the nastiest shit. I'm just like, how can anyone do this shit?
That's nasty,
right?
yeah.
But I only had that job for about, no. At first, I was hired to do events with that company. And because they knew I wanted to get into radio, and they would go from town to town at, I would say, the equivalent of county fairs.
Okay.
And this was a semi-trailer that had speakers on top and would serve as the event center for the county fair. Yeah. So if there's a lost kid, they gave me the job. Hey, you just sit there on the microphone and announce kids. So, excuse me, if we've lost a 5-year-old child, please come to the Rothman's Caravan, right? And they had a glass window there in the front. I mean, it was like a studio.
Yeah.
So I had this job for about 2 weeks, but the guy I was with was a freaking wild man. He was nuts. And he said, well, you're not a drinker, and I'm a drinker. He goes, and you like doing the announcing shit, and I don't like doing that. Why don't you stay here and work like the 12 hours, and I'm going to go into the beer gardens and just fucking get blotto. Mm-hmm. So we're parked in front of the beer gardens, and I'm sitting there. He walks in with, at the time, it was Miss Charleswood in Motion. That was the Charleswood days. Mm-hmm. And a woman that he met at the porta potties. And he walks in and goes, we're going to party. The guy was hammered. He brought a speaker in that we were supplying music to the whole fair.
Yeah.
Brought the speaker into the thing, and he started playing Kenny Rogers, The Gambler.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, girls, get naked. So I'm sitting there. Now, I'm just out of high school, Chasta.
Oh, my God.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm going, this is fucking the greatest day of my life, right?
Oh, my God.
So the old lady that he met at the porta potty, she was really into, and she starts dancing. And the Miss Charleswood in Motion, she didn't know what hit her.
Yeah.
But she was like the beauty queen contestant. So the old lady starts taking her clothes off, and now the woman, the contestant starts dancing too. And the guy I'm with is, oh, yeah, come on, girls. And I'm just sitting there going, this is fucking work. This is the greatest day of my life. But the old lady got carried away and opened up the blinds to the beer garden.
Oh, my God.
You must have, I saw 300 heads just shoot around. I'm surprised they didn't throw their necks out like this.
Oh, my
looking,
God.
pointing Well, they ended up transferring me into the cigarette division after that
I would
day.
imagine
That's
so.
how I got into the sales.
Oh,
yes.
my God.
Yeah.
It was a great day, though.
Oh, it was a great day. It was a great day.
Worth it, I guess.
Saw two naked women.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Yeah.
My memories are very different than that. Whenever I thought about, like, we brought up our best days, I thought, like, okay, on your deathbed, when all the great moments flash before your eyes kind of
Yes.
thing, that's the way I envisioned this.
Yes.
So rapid fire, a lot of mine involve travel because I feel like that's what has made my life feel the most rich to me.
Right.
Is learning about other cultures and being in other places. And I travel with my mom mostly. I remember being in India and we had some of the locals make us saris. And so we had this beautiful traditional saris on and we walk up and I turn the corner and the Taj Mahal at dawn. And it was just
Blew your mind.
so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even breathe.
Wow.
Because whenever the sunlight was just coming up and so it hits it and it's like iridescent. And it just sparkles. It was like diamonds floating around. It just gives me the goosies just even thinking about it. So that's probably the most impactful moment. In fact, my mom and I have this thing where when she passes away or I pass away, whoever goes first, we're going to meet each other on the other side. So let's say I were to go first. She has to go back to India and stand in that same spot. And that's where I'll be waiting on her.
Incredible.
And she has a place in Ireland that I need to travel to. So it's like a
Okay.
whole thing. It's a very, very impactful moment. Since I mentioned my mom, I felt like I had to mention my dad because we had a lot of great moments while he was here. I used to go out on the lake. He owned a boat. And my dad was like, he was kind of like you in a way. Like he was like.
God, I hope not.
No. He was like, he had the Tonelli vibe. And I mean, like he was always a friend of everyone. Everyone loved him. He was the life of the party, mayor of the entire county. He was that guy. And so, right, he threw a good party.
That's Paul?
He had,
right?
he had this
That's
boat.
exactly what I was thinking. I was like,
He's
I
good
didn't
at
know what to
showing up
say.
at parties.
So he had this boat and we would go out and I remember this one night and my dad was like my best friend. So we would drink from time to time together and we like had margaritas all night and just like passed out on the boat with the moon overhead and just having a blast listening to music. And then woke up the next morning and was like, that was so fun. It's so crazy. And like we're out on the lake the whole next day. It was just a really sort of magical moment. And now that my dad's gone, it's one of those things that like really holds near and dear to my heart. I mean, since I can't say Cody, whenever he was born, I will say there's a lot of moments when I'm putting Cody to bed. Oof. Here
You're not
come
going
the
to cry
tears.
again.
Okay.
You always tear up on these podcasts.
I mean, this, you have kids, like,
Yeah.
shit. Or he's like holding my face, like last night. He's 7.
Yeah.
But he curled up in my arms and he grabbed my face. And I was just like, I had this moment of like, whoosh, like he was 6 months old and now he's 7.
Yeah.
Right? And it
Yeah.
just happens
the
like
blink of
in
an
the
eye.
blink of an eye. But now he's old enough to grab my face and say, that he loves me. It's a whole thing. Anyway, got to get past that. So any moment with Cody is like that. And then New Orleans. New Orleans makes me supremely happy. It's my place I go to for respite. Jesus Christ, where are these emotions coming
Your
from?
happy place.
It is my happy place. I remember.
It's your happy place. You shouldn't be crying.
Because there's a lot of dead people wandering around the
Exactly.
town.
That's where my peeps are. They're in the cemeteries there. No, when Jay and I went this past April, we'd been going for 10 years and had a lot of great memories there. But when we went this past April, it was the moment where we were sitting on this balcony and we looked at each other and we were like, it's time. We knew it was time to buy there, to start a life there in whatever way we could.
Mm-hmm.
And so that moment leading to us buying our place in New Orleans, that's like all one big memory for me.
Wow.
Wow, I did not
that.
expect to get that emotional. Surprise, surprise. I cried. I always cry.
Well, so I was going to add,
Yeah.
like what Paul, when you brought up getting our golf clubs.
Yeah, and I feel very shallow that great
I
moment
know.
was signing a contract and getting golf clubs.
But I'm
Man,
going to
how
be more
shallow am
shallow
I?
then because another great
This is the
moment.
most shallow
I'll
person
tell you
ever.
what, when my life is flashing in front of me, as Chasta said,
Yeah.
one of the great moments, another great day in our life. Remember when we had our first great contract at KSJO?
Yeah.
And people go, because people want to fire us within 6
Yes,
months.
they
They
did.
wanted to get rid of us. It was
Surprise,
like,
surprise.
Who are these idiots, right? But thanks to Barenfeld, he stuck with us. And when we finally had a great contract, I remember there was a show across the street that used to tape our show, do our bits on their show, and then accuse us of stealing from their show.
Yes,
Holy
that's a
No,
true
seriously,
story.
it was beyond ridiculous.
Yep.
However,
it really was.
I remember telling Tonelli, I go, here's the deal. We're the ones coming up with the ideas. Mm-hmm. they're dependent on our ideas. So then we'd add our names in. It would really fuck them up, right? So when we overtook them in the book, and these guys were just fucking assholes. These guys suck. So when we friggin' beat them, and by the way, once we beat them once, they disappeared 2 years later. They were done because we fucking obliterated these guys.
And they were always more worried about us than we were about them.
I had no idea who they were, quite
Yeah,
honestly, up to this point. But that first book, after all the shit talking they did for like 9 months, I went and I got a fucking butt plug and a fucking container of Vaseline, and I sent it to him saying, how does it feel to get fucked up the ass by Lamont and Tonelli? And you know what? It was at that point, it was one of the greatest moments of my life.
I think we'll end on that
Right?
one. Yeah.
Right up there with your Cody moments.
No, right up there. Yeah, it brings tears to his eyes. See, can't you tell?
Oh, God, it was fantastic.
Well, you know what? I'm always going to cry when I bring up my son. So it is what it is. And you're always going to cry when you bring up butt plugs. So here we are. All right.
And Vaseline.
Guys. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Apologies for the tears. Actually, I'm not sorry. These are the best moments
Sorry,
of my
not sorry.
life. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
So subscribe on YouTube, ring the bell, do all the things that the kids say. And we appreciate you being here with us. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Bonus Bone Podcast. I need a woot woot.
Woot, woot. I'm trying to figure out which way I have to tilt my head with this camera.
I know, the camera
because the
keeps
camera's
slipping.
broken and it's tilted. So it looks like I'm sitting on an angle every show.
I got an angle. I did not think you were going to say angle.
The angle of the dangle.
All right,
there
we
we go.
got to get out of here. Love you guys. Bye.